All
Okay,
right.
now that I've recorded, this is our study group meeting. We were just talking about strategies for essay writing.
Mhm.
And so for CivPro Tenerelli, on your My SJCL portal, you see all the past exams. And Navpreet and said that there's a midterm that she posted, so you guys can see that in Twen. And then there's other finals and I think older midterms on the My SJCL portal, which you can see here. Boop. All these old. I don't even think there's any midterm, final, fall, spring. But these have the model answers, and it's good to go over them. But the dangerous part is it's going to be really long and really detailed. And if you try to memorize all of it, it will be really difficult for you. So I'll show you guys a sample, and then why I look at the bar to compare, like a simple place to start. Then I'll add the details from her final answer. Let's see. Boop, boop. Come on, computer. I don't know why it's doing this. Okay. Can you guys see this?
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
So I
Yeah.
don't have the answer to the question. This is like remand. Okay, we went over this. Here's her blurb. Yeah, that's actually pretty
That's
small.
a pretty, yeah,
Johnson
simple.
negligence, diversity, good, domicile. So these little parts that are highlighted, all those little barfs, you have to memorize in your essay. So when
Yeah.
you're going through hers, it's good to like for domicile, you have to mention intent to remain. That's one thing I people forget. Yeah, where you physically reside and intention to remain in your barf, right? And then blah blah blah. Corporation's domicile, you need to mention nerve center test, principal place of business. So for your essay, you need those barf chunks in there. So
And
this one's actually not too bad and wordy. And her husband actually taught some of these courses before, so sometimes it'll be his model answer or hers. And then so the bar, whoops, this is the bar. Here's a blurb about residency and a sample answer here. Residency for individuals, domicile, where they reside, intend to remain. So just the little barfs from there you have to memorize with your essay. Like it's conversation about uh, diversity, federal question. You have to memorize those points, and it's just a couple sentences. So whether I think I start with the bar answer, you can start with hers. Just remember, limited time. Will you remember it? And it has to be like in sentence form. It can't just be like words. With torts, you could be a little bit briefer, but Cipro, they have to be like full sentences.
mhm.
Um, anyway,
I
okay. You guys want to say something? Now that we're recording,
Yeah, yeah, I was gonna say that no, something that have noticed in law school in general throughout the semester was that if there's something that doesn't need to be said or worded out or even just, put there, totally don't even do that. Only write down what absolutely needs to be written down and don't try to add anything extra to that because that will dock you points. I believe for assignment two, that's what happened. It was for Torts assignment two. I had mentioned a few other things that did not need to be mentioned, and I was docked a couple points off of that for that.
legal methods, right? Legal methods we're talking about.
No, no, Torts I'm talking about.
Torts. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. The assignment two for Torts.
We're talking about the quiz or the online, the
The
Twen stuff.
online, yeah, the
Yeah,
online
yeah.
one. Mm-hmm.
See, so what's interesting is Torts class, she gives us probably the most work, right? So
Yeah.
we just had reading, a quiz, hypotheticals, practice answers on Twen, I spent all my time, and I got a 70 first semester, all my time on reading, and I just memorized somebody else's outline. And I don't know how in the hell I passed. I didn't have time to do any of the essays. I didn't have time to do any of the hypos. I did it really quick in class. And I
Mhm.
was one of the people in my class that spoke the most. Now I don't care, and I'm working on essays in class, but none of that is worth, the quizzes are worth nothing. You could fail all the quizzes and still get a high grade, and you
Yeah.
can not, the twin assignments are worth nothing. um are you, should you be doing nothing? Obviously not. But
Yeah.
in the exam, the analysis compared to the rule, you could say the rule wrong and do all the analysis right and still get a good grade. The rule's not, you spewing out the rule on the quiz, it's worth like 5 points, but in the actual essay, it's all analysis. It's, if you fuck that up, which I did, uh, you don't know when something's triggered, you lose a lot of points. So people get this artificial understanding like, oh man, I got a high, like I said, I got like, I think the second or third highest score for the first quiz. I was like, ha ha, I'm the best, I'm the tort king. And little did I know, like, first semester was cool. The second semester, I was like, I don't even study that hard. And it like fatal,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, I know.
So
In
it's
reality.
it's confusing because if you have limited time and you spend on the wrong thing, it's really bad. It's, you can fail that way. And again, half of us in this class not going to be here, and you'll talk to everybody. They think they have figured out. They say all the answers in class, or maybe they're quiet, or maybe they have a certain method or technique, and they fail, and it sucks. It sucks. It's horrible. But that's just the truth. It's points. Like Howard tells us, it's points game.
Yeah. For how many of you guys are in Goodrich's class? Is
I
everyone?
think everybody, yeah, she teaches torts for everybody.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
that's
Yeah.
everyone.
Mhm. I believe we have an assignment coming up tomorrow, if that's correct.
You talking about the dunk tank?
Yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah.
the dunk tank. Yeah, I turned it in already.
How did you guys feel about that?
It was pretty straightforward. I've been doing the assignment and she is responding back just good. Seems like you have an idea of what you're supposed to do. So I was like, okay, then that's it is what it is. Then I met her too, and that was helpful and she kind of cleared up something. Okay, for that. The only class that I feel like I'm struggling in is civil procedure because
Yeah. No, civil procedures is it's
rules and the memorization. Like I'm not sure if I'm supposed to like be memorizing like 14A, 13G, 20. Like I can't even.
You don't need to know the numbers. And like what's highly likely on our midterm, out of joinders, like Rule 19's very, last year it was Rule 19, 1335, the statutory interpleader. There was a class action, and yeah, I think that was, I think there was like a subject matter jurisdiction question. But you don't need to memorize the
Okay.
numbers. I memorized them all last year, and it's not worth any points.
Oh, okay.
She
That's good to
tells
know.
us, she'll tell you if you're at, yeah.
okay.
Okay. All right.
What about assignment two? I mean, again, it's not graded or anything, but it's still important that we all, get everything hammered in the first time around, of course. But how did you guys feel about assignment two? What was your guys' feedback on that?
On in torts,
Yeah.
she told me good. She just had some minor things, but otherwise it was pretty straightforward. Do you want to? Three took me about 15 minutes to do. Do you want to pull up three?
I'm not quite finished with that one yet. I'm almost done with it, so I still need to like get everything hammered home with that. What
Okay. What did she say about two? Or what was your feedback for two?
For two, there was just simple, it was mostly just formatting things that were not all there with mine. But other than that, she said that you like have the gist of it, you know what you're doing, but like the formatting for mine was a bit off. Um, I got kind of confused when it had like or like this or that. I just did it for one of them. and then I submitted it that way, which I had thought it was either or we could pick. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, that was my thing. So she's like, no, you did the assignment. You just need to complete this other part of it. I'm like, okay, but yeah, so I need to go back and we rework that. I stayed after class and I talked to her during her office hours. So that's how that was. But what about you guys though? Was there anything for assignment two that Jordan, you or Ryan, had that, may have stood out?
Are you talking about the intent assignment?
Yeah, wrongful consequences where the bar situation and the
Oh,
lady.
oh yeah. I just have to work on my because part of my explanation, just connecting the facts. That's most of the feedback she gave me. I think everything else I'm getting mostly good enough.
Uh-huh. When you
Um,
Sorry, I was gonna ask, when you say connecting the facts, do you mean like connecting the facts of the case
yeah,
to Oh yeah, no, that was literally one thing that I had trouble with for assignment one, which was that I didn't exactly connect the facts to the case, but everything on Torts is just pure fact based. And it's like what I said earlier. Um, Anything extra that you might be thinking of, just don't add, only stick to the clear and cut simple facts to that. That's what she's gonna like.
yeah,
Yeah, I learned that early on. I met with Professor Howard a few
Mhm.
weeks ago, and she's like, literally, nobody cares what you think. So, like,
Yeah.
don't think beyond what you're expected to think. So, like, don't think about what happened to them afterwards, or, don't think about any of that. Like, she's like, nobody cares. And I
Yep.
put that in my head, like, nobody cares what I think. So, I'm gonna
Yeah.
stick to that.
Don't
Those
bring reality. It's you're locked into that story. Nothing else is
Exactly.
real. That's what's real. That was so hard for me to like put in real life or in my experience. It's so easy to add.
Yeah.
I would add facts all the time. That was like a bad habit.
Yeah, I've completely removed myself. Like, I don't care if I like what my conscience says, like I just shove it to the side and just move on.
hmm No,
Do you
same. I've had to do that.
I have that and she only has I think one Goodrich, but I have the intentional torts example answers for assault if you guys want to look at it real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, let's pull that up.
Yeah, because what she's
I'll
doing
be
in the
honest with
sorry, what?
oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
What she
I was gonna say, I'm glad you're bringing that up because for intent, I didn't realize until the quiz that there were, uh, I don't know how I missed it, but there's like three versions of intent. There's
Yeah.
desire, knowledge to substantial certainty, and reckless. Could somebody expand on the reckless part?
I think the most important thing is desire and knowledge, and then there's something that can like negate intent, like yeah, like what you're saying, reckless. There could be if you're a child and you're too young, and mistake doesn't matter, you can still have it. If you're voluntarily intoxicated, doesn't matter, you can still have it. So I think the most important are desire and knowledge. I think I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I would say so too. I do think that reckless, I
Quiz.
might be, huh?
No, go ahead. I didn't say anything.
she had briefly mentioned it in class that day, and she said it applied to just one tort, which I assume is
IED.
battery for
Because
reckless.
you remember on the quiz there was a question about the basketball player who threw the
Yeah,
ball.
yeah, and I put sub knowledge to substantial certainty, but
I did too.
when she
But then
mentioned reckless that day, I was thinking, oh, I got it wrong.
shit.
But
Yeah, that's exactly what I thought.
I haven't talked to anybody that knew where reckless applies even, so I'm still not sure.
Yeah,
Yeah.
same. I didn't that's why I was so confused. I was like, I haven't heard her bring up like reckless because that falls under negligence.
Yeah,
So, and we
Exactly.
hadn't even talked about
it might have
negligence. So,
been really quickly in the beginning. I feel like maybe, but again, that would have been a while ago.
Ryan and Mitridad, what did you guys put for that basketball question? Did you put knowledge to substantial certainty?
I
Or-
put, yeah, I mean, I put, unfortunately, for that, I had missed the key legal term, which was very foolish of me in that case, looking back at that. But I essentially put knowledge to substantial certainty. But I definitely think recklessness could be something that would be able to be used. I
I'm in the nighttime, so we had different. You guys are all in daytime torts?
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah.
So we got a different quiz.
Okay, but Ryan, could you pull up that assault?
Yeah.
Could you pull up what you were gonna
Yeah,
pull
yeah.
up? You said a response to assault.
Yeah, I know.
Because attempt falls into that.
Yeah, I know for sure. Like that's an element of IED, reckless disregard, the high probability of causing.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, that's part of the definition, though. I think she mentioned that intent, there's a special form of intent related to the tort.
in negligence rescuer doctrine, if you rescue, you can be reckless and it can negate the rescue. That's like standard of care, but I know that that can negate uh negligence if you save someone, but that's later. Other than that, can't think of anything.
Yeah, so intent is literally just desire and knowledge to a substantial
Knowledge. Yeah,
certainty
you guys are
that
thinking of like
so
modifiers, and reckless would modify intent because
yeah.
it's not desire or knowledge. You just are. And I think that's just for IED. But
Okay, and
you
we
mentioned that same
haven't
with
covered that.
child. Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, but we haven't. So Jordan and Mitra, we're all on the same page as in regards to our quiz. That knowledge to substantial certainty had to have been the answer because it was desire. He didn't desire to hit anybody, but
Yeah.
should have known that it could have happened
The
because he's throwing the ball.
the thing that bothered me though was in the quiz, the fact pattern didn't back that up because it specifically mentioned that the crowd was very sparse. So
Yes, and I mentioned that in my answer too. I was like, even it
I
doesn't say that they're never there, but they could be
yeah,
there. So he
I
So
and he
wanted
knows
to,
that.
but again, I didn't want to put anything that wasn't in the facts, so I just didn't mention the fact that he, like, realistically, he didn't have that knowledge, but I just said he did because what else could he have?
and also he did
Yeah,
it
what
out of
else could the
anger.
intent be?
It was out of
What
anger
was
as
that?
well. So if it's out of anger, he's not intending in that case, it's like more or less seemingly like negligence, like what we were mentioning before.
Yeah, and that's why when she mentioned it in class, I was like, oh, maybe that's what it was. But I haven't.
But we hadn't covered negligence at that point. So I'm like,
No,
how
not
could she
yet.
ask us about something that she hasn't taught? So, or that we haven't covered because we're doing negligence now. So it's like, my point is like, because I'm like beating myself up over this. It had to have been like, I guess we'll see when she releases
Yeah,
the
I think we just
scores.
really need to see. I really want to
It
know.
sounds like knowledge to a substantial certainty. My way of thinking of that is like we're in class. I have a marker. I see Jordan. I throw it at Jordan. That's desire. And if I turn around, I can't see anybody. And I know that people are in class. Even if people aren't, someone could be walking around during school hours, and I throw it behind me. Knowledge to a
Right.
substantial certainty.
Exact. Oh yeah,
So
that I think that clarifies it. Yeah, I think she had given
maybe
that example too. If you like walk into class and you throw something, even if somebody could be there, you're in a place where like, the stands are okay. Okay, so I think that hopefully I got that answer right. Do you guys remember the multiple choice question on that
No,
quiz?
I can't remember that actually. I actually
Wait, what
It's
was it?
driving me crazy. I can't remember it. All I know is
If
that I put C.
if if something reminded me, I know I would remember it. Let's see.
also
So first there was the
Uh,
false imprisonment. Then there was
the definition of IED.
IED. Then the basketball,
Yes.
and then the last one.
Yeah.
the last one is the
I
trick question.
couldn't remember.
She gives a trick question or a really hard question, and she switches off between the day class and the night class. So just so you guys know, the last one's a doozy. I think we might have got it.
Well, our last one was the multiple choice.
Yeah,
So
but
would
it's
that
always a trick question. Like it'll be some extra hard. So maybe you guys didn't get it and we got it, but just so you know, the last one, or usually it's the last one, there is a trick or a hard question she gives on purpose and she switches off, just so you guys know.
And Ryan, do you think that is she okay with us using like a synonym? Like for the life of me, I could not remember the words for to define a person outrageous and extreme. So I put like unacceptable and something else. Is she okay with using
No, she
synonyms like that? Oh, okay.
yeah,
All right. Well, I got
I
that wrong
forgot
then.
like I forgot like the one like of sometimes, and she get marked me down like 0.5. So I think she's more
Dang,
forgiving on
okay.
the test, but the quiz is to punish people who are being lazy. It's
She
like if
legal
you're not keeping up,
terms.
it's like meant to like make you feel bad.
That makes
Yeah.
sense because the
Okay.
point it's not a substantial amount of points anyways.
It's like worth nothing.
Yeah, it's
Sorry.
2.5% when you break it down. But that 2.5 is the difference between a 70 and a 68. So
Did you guys get the 3 elements for false imprisonment?
no, again, I use synonyms, so I pretty much wrote the idea of it, but I didn't have the except for the first one, which was
Parent?
uh a parent.
I
Yeah,
remembered
it's
a parent, and then the others, I think I'm in the same boat. I'm not sure if I got it right. Like, I think I'm around there because I put it can't be harmful and it can't be illegal, but
yeah.
I didn't know what exactly she wanted. I forgot.
Well, hopefully she releases the scores so we can see what that's about. But I'm sorry, Ryan, we keep interrupting. You were gonna share the assault.
You're fine. It's good. It's good, like to try to score high in the quizzes because it all compounds and it gets much harder with negligence. So the intentional torts are easy. Like what the only intentional tort we're going to need to use moving on once we get into negligence is battery. There's not going to be any other intentional tort we need to know. And there'll be like defense, I think, consent, maybe, but negligence is just its whole own thing. So
Okay. All right. So let's
okay,
see.
check this out. This is for assault. And I like so the weekend assignments are the building blocks to answer the essay question. But for me, I'm not doing any this time. I did them last time and I didn't understand her feedback. I didn't understand her shorthand writing, and I didn't want to meet with her. I still got 70, I still passed, but that was stupid. But it doesn't make sense to me going at it little piece at a time. I'm more of a big picture context. So let's check out this essay that breaks it all down. So you'll see what she's trying to get at. Spoon feed you. So share screen. Share. Okay. You guys see this?
Okay, yeah, I can see it.
So here's
Yeah.
a fact pattern. Just look at the fact pattern. It's short. It just glance at it for a second. Or I'll just read it out loud. Just so like Square Z, 6 foot tall rapper, physically fit from boxing training. Hint: Roger is a skinny 5 foot 5 inch fan, snuck backstage at one of Square Z's concerts and into Square Z's dressing room. As Square Z opened his dressing room door after the concert and was about to walk in, Roger realized that Square Z had seen him. Hint: sees him. Hoping to get past Square Z in the doorway, Roger grabbed a large paper wrapped flower bouquet he had brought with him, rushing, that's a hint, rushing, yelling towards Square Z, actions and words, while raising the flowers above his head, action. Puzzled, Square Z took a step backwards, an action, pay attention to that. But Roger hit him in the face with flowers. He hit him. Unharmed but covered in flowers, paper, and pollen, Square Z punched Roger in the face and chest, broke his jaw, nose, and several ribs. So
Okay.
even though there's battery and like there's self-defense, this just is assault. Just discusses how you discuss assault. So
Oh, this is just assault. So
yeah,
no defenses, no
no,
battery, no nothing.
no. And this is
Trespass. Okay.
yeah, this is two possible ways to give your essay answer. So we look at the start of the first, and they the start is the same in both. So we have UC, and it's helpful. She tells us we write what it is: Square Z versus Roger, tort, assault. We have our rule: volitional act with intent to cause, reasonable apprehension of imminent harmful offensive contact, blah, 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 blah. Intent. Now we see how we answer. Intent required for an assault is the desire or knowledge to a substantial certainty, mentions both. The reasonable apprehension of imminent harmful contact occur. So he chooses desire. Roger's underlying desire to cause reasonable apprehension, blah, 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 is shown by, and these are the facts: rushing towards Square Z, movement, while yelling, a sound, I guess you could classify those words, and raising a large bouquet of flowers above his head, all to get past Square Z in the doorway. Boom. Our choice, desire or knowledge, the part of the rule, and the fact. facts. So that's one, intent. Now, reasonable apprehension. A reasonable person would be apprehensive if Roger rushed towards them while yelling and with a large bouquet raised above his head. By taking such an action, Roger shows a desire to cause a reasonable apprehension. So we say this is like all Iraq, right? The issue,
Yeah.
reasonable apprehension, rule, a reasonable person would be apprehensive. Application, Roger rushed towards them while yelling and with a large bouquet raised above his head. Application, conclusion, by taking such action, Roger shows a desire to cause reasonable apprehension. See how it's like in the little package? This is what she's given us every week to sort of hint that this is how you answer. I couldn't read her writing, and I didn't, that wasn't helpful for me at all. I just, reading answers helped me enough first semester.
And this answer is like exactly what she wants to see.
This is what she posted. Whatever they post in their example tests, and this is important to remember the difference between Goodrich and Tenorelli. Tenorelli, way too much information, just like her lecture style. She gives you a lot of information.
Yeah.
We just learned pendant and ancillary for what was the main topic?
Supplemental
Yeah.
jurisdiction.
You don't need to know those words, pendant and ancillary. It's just the historical context of supplemental. You don't need to know. That confused me, and I did more research on that. Don't need to know that. But anyway, Goodrich's answers are really brief. You'll see some like negligence or answers. The person says it so brief with spelling errors, incomplete sentences, and it's still got a high score. So you'll see in some of Goodrich's answers, like they're brief and packaged. Like this is pretty brief. And we're almost done with one sample. The other person combines
it is, yeah.
Yeah, the other person combines reasonable apprehension and imminent, I think. So we'll keep going. But look what they wrote. You have to write a reasonable person would be apprehensive. You have to write an intent. You choose one. You have to write desire. For imminent.
So, but I noticed that they're not defining reasonable person, or did they define reasonable person in the definition of assault? And what about overt action? Is that part of assault too? Like I see some words that are missing.
The most important, like some people would say, is like the action, because you have to have word, there's the words, overt action usually moving forward. Words and actions work together.
Yes.
Words could negate an action. You don't need to repeat all of that. We know by yelling and running towards with a raised hand, that satisfies enough of reasonable apprehension of harmful.
The intent.
Intent we already chose.
Okay.
Desire, so you don't talk about it anymore. These are all the elements. Okay, look at this. Look at this person. The first two, we have the rule assault. We have intent, reasonable apprehension. This is the second part that someone broke it down in a different way. Reasonable apprehension and imminent. And here in reasonable apprehension, they provide a counter argument. So here, reasonable apprehension, very, very short, like 2 sentences. Here, reasonable apprehension, square Z is this is using different facts. Square Z taking a step backwards shows that Roger did cause square Z to be apprehensive of imminent or harmful offensive contact. Counter argument. Roger will argue that square Z was not afraid because he was only puzzled using the facts, and because square Z was much larger using the facts and more physically fit using the fact than Roger. Conclusion. However, fear and being stronger or larger are not required before a person can have reasonable apprehension of imminent or harmful or of offensive contact. Square Z has a better argument. So you see in there, sometimes you have to do the counter argument. Some elements you don't. So this person, you could go either way. Maybe this answer would get you more points, but this is just another example. So imminent offensive contact, the person above just had imminent and harmful or offensive contact separate. This one, they're combined. And
then when they put square Z has the better argument, is that needed?
That's a conclusion. It doesn't matter what your conclusion is, you have to have one. Every element you'll see, Imminent offensive contact, last sentence, offensive contact was imminent. That's the conclusion. Conclusion for here, Squares D has a better argument. Conclusion for harmful offensive contact, he shows the desire cause reasonable apprehension of offensive contact. You have to write a conclusion. It doesn't really matter what it is. It has to align with your argument, but you have
Uh-huh.
to have a conclusion.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
Okay.
yeah, check this out. It's the only, I think, intentional tort essay. So you can see, I think she should just give us this. Piecemealing it out confuses me. So this is how I can see all of it. Cool. I'll just copy one style, boom, on to the next.
Yeah, that was one thing that kind of confused me a bit at the beginning of class when we were
Yeah, and it kind of follows the format of the assignments.
yeah, because you have to have like cut and dry facts, and then you can come up with your own conclusion at the end of that. And at the beginning, and I'm just saying it for my own, my own reference, my own story, I totally didn't know what that meant. Like, wait, we can come up with our own conclusion? But yeah, like it's literally whatever you think, because you're going to be advocating for one side when you're an attorney. So, I mean, that is what you can put for this as practice now.
Yeah, and it's you have to use she says, and it's confusing. You can argue it any way you want. You can't. You have to use the facts. You have to use the facts to make your argument. And it's either what yes or no, and so it's confusing. That's what made me want to add facts because I'm like, oh, I can argue whatever I want. You can't. You have to use the exact words that are there. So look at that sample answer and then yeah, that's how I like Goodrich's are great. Some people are so brief and I love that. But Artinian, I don't know how Atkinson is, but Tenerelli's, a lot of them are too much. So that's why I looked at the bar. But whatever method works for you guys, that's just what worked for me.
Yeah. No, I can say that Atkinson, he's very cut and thorough, similar to Goodrich in that way. That's at least my interpretation of that. And Afpreet, what do you think? And Jordan, like, what do you think about Atkinson? I believe both of you are in his class too. Yeah.
I think I can, based on his expressions and his body language, I can tell when he's getting mad at us for not getting something. So
Yeah.
I kind of picked up when he gets mad. That's what I should be taking notes on the most, or when he says, "You got it, everybody," and I'm like, okay. When he says everybody, that indicates he's or he feels like we're not, because I feel like last on Wednesday, I feel like
Yeah,
he
he
was
wasn't happy
getting
with
at
us.
that he wasn't happy, and I'm like, oh shoot, Dad's mad at us. Like he was just, and I was getting confused, and it was kind of making me feel overwhelmed, and it was just I didn't like Wednesday's class at all. I felt a little traumatized.
By the way, reminder, I believe the next class for Atkinson is at 10 a.m. So just so you guys
Yeah.
know. But
Yeah,
yeah,
it is. Yes, it is.
I just wanted to
I
remind
don't
you.
know if you guys feel the same way, but
No, I do. I think we all do. Yeah, no, I definitely think we all do. You know, the Atkinson's, and I actually think next session I do want to hold a second study session with you guys, or second review session, whatever we want to call it. But I do want to hold a second one with you guys. I think that this call was really productive, actually. Um, but I can also say that next session I do want to go over Atkinson's class. Ryan, you're in Artinians, you said, right? Yeah.
Yeah, I'm in our Artinians, but I'm down to go over the material you guys go because I passed contracts. It was my highest score second semester, so I would actually benefit you guys. Atkinson goes more linear, like offer formation. We go backwards. We go from like offer to remedies, and then we learn formation second semester. So actually, it'd be good review. We all got to know the same stuff for the bar. So if you guys
Yeah.
want to do that, I'm totally down.
I'm absolutely down for that. Unless an October surprise assignment comes through and we're like, okay, we need to focus on this. But no, next session, let's definitely go over some of contracts. And I think this is a good time, right? Like 11:30.
Yeah. On Friday.
Yeah, Fridays at 11:30. That works out for you guys so far?
Yeah, it works for me.
Works for me too.
Yeah, even if we need to switch it, I would be okay with switching it to 1:30 for the other people that want to join, because I know listening to the recordings after the fact can be very boring if you're not engaged with it. So whatever works.
Yeah.
This
No,
time, or I could do later too.
yeah, I'll post another poll, so everyone can vote on the time that works best for them. But Fridays is my free days, de facto free days. So, I can be very flexible with that as well. But yeah,
Okay, sounds good. I do have to go into the next part of my day, but this was productive. I'm glad we were able to do this. So I'll see you guys on Monday, except for Ryan. I'll see you on Thursday.
Yeah, thanks,
yeah.
guys.
See you guys later. Take care.
Yeah.
All right, guys,
Okay.
later.
Awesome.
All right.
Bye.